Hi everyone, my name is Pawan Kushwa and I am the host for today's meeting or webinar. What we are going to discuss is the topic is majorly on email security. So we'll dig down more on email security. Apart from this, apart from me, I have with me Ayman. Ayman is from Saudi Arabia. He's the CISO for Salam, one of the leading telecom companies in Saudi Arabia. He's a cybersecurity professional with more than 16 years of experience in applying people, process, methods, problem solving, and technical skills to improve the performance of individuals, team, and organization. He has also designed and developed implementation to the cybersecurity processes and procedures to have that have led to organization being distinguished as one of the best MSS company in the Middle East region. He has considerably contributed towards building all MSS and applying all the security frameworks required by the regulators. So, welcome, Aman. And before we talk about uh, cybersecurity in general, or before we talk about the email security, I just wanted to start with your thoughts on email security and how this can help out. And before we go into that, let me just give a brief introduction of ourselves. Like I mentioned, my name is Pawan Kushwa. I'm the CEO and co-founder for Critical. Critical is an end-to-end cybersecurity firm which majorly specialized on a people problem. So what we have is different kind of tool which help you to mitigate the phishing and social engineering attacks which are happening across the world. So, and we majorly work on email security. So that's something which is area of interest for us as well. And we are glad and happy to have Ayman on this panel. So over to you, Ayman. A few words on email security before we start with our Q&A round.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank you for having me in this webinar today. Actually, I'm trying to start my video, but for some reason it's not working. I don't know why. But it's worked with me in other application, so I'm sorry for that. Talking about email security, actually, as you know, in most of the company or all of the company, email security is very important because usually the mail, it's the official channel of your communication and offer the organization to document and changing information. So it's like the most official channel being used in each organization, and it's contain a very sensitive and secure data. So basically, email security, if you're securing the email security, basically you're securing the business. Yes. Exposing the data of offer the email security is extremely risky, and exposing a company data and the business where it is leading to a compromise and impacting the business and even a reputation of the company.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So with that note, we'll start our conversation. So the conversation will go like this. So I'll ask a couple of questions that I already have and which will definitely help our audience. And then there is so when we started our promoting this webinar, there are a couple of questions that already came from the audience. So I'll try to take those questions and will help you out much more. So once these questions have been done, then meanwhile, the people can put up their question, whatever they have in chat box. I'll try to cover those questions as well. And at the end of the day, there will be a Q&A round where you get a chance to ask question from Ayman what about various cybersecurity initiatives, or especially on email security. So here it goes with my first question. So what's in your opinion is email security today for the organization? I know that in the introduction itself you mentioned a few things, but what is email security from your perspective and from a broadly perspective and from a CISO's perspective, to be more precise, if I put up this question like this, what is in your opinion?
Yeah, as I said earlier, the email is like the main channel of communication of our organizations, and to document all information to contain a very sensitive data. So basically, email security is like a set of tools, tactic, procedure, policy, and the software that being used to defend again any malicious attempt access comprise those sensitive data.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I understand. And how would you describe Middle East current email threat landscape? So what are the things that you have? What are the things challenges that you face? And is there anything that you wanted to share with our people? Ayman, I think you're on mute. So let me just.
That's okay now?
Yeah, it's okay now. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, in the Middle East, especially in the GCC, as everybody know that recently, last few years, we're going through a huge transformation, especially in Saudi. We have the vision of 2030, and across other countries also, every country has their own vision to be transferred from a traditional way of doing business and government to the e-government, where this is increasing the digitization in the countries big time. Going through this is digitization, it's required to communicate using all digital channel, and email one of them. Usage of email has been increased big time in the last few years. And because of that, the attack of email has been increased big of times recently in a few years. The government and also other company, I believe they have been starting improve their email security, since all business has been now transferred to be a digitized and using an email and other digital channels. So all other company and governments start making a big effort to secure those channels, including the email, in order to secure the business. I believe there is so many reporting has been published over the internet, where it says there is like more 2.5 million of phishing attack were detected across the Middle East in 2020 only. So this is give you a picture that how many important that to need to secure this is digital channels and email in order to secure the business.
And like it's a follow-up question that I have. Like we talked about the landscape, we talked about the current landscape of threats which is going on. Can you describe one of the sophisticated attack that you have ever seen, and not in your company, but overall in the Middle East, which has been talked about? Why this happened? Like anything on BEC attacks or something like this, which you have seen and you are able to let's give some perspective on that as well. One kind of case study where we can understand how these attackers are becoming smart and increasing that entire threat landscape.
Yeah, actually, most of the attacks starting from a malicious email. Basically, today we have what we call social engineering, spam, phishing,
Correct.
and spear phishing, business email compromise. Those advanced tactics being used to attack organization over the email. People know phishing mail, which is usually someone send an email, a campaign of phishing, sending email to any organization with a malicious link. If someone click that link, he will be compromised. Then those hackers going to the little advanced position by using spear phishing, where they attacking practical persons, where they doing a study about his background, his position, his communication, and send an email on behalf of someone acting like he's that one, sending an email looking like a very legitimate email, contain all information that let him feeling that he's that person that used to communicate with. Also, hackers going to the more advanced level of phishing, what we call business email compromise, where it is happen widely, especially in the Middle East. I have seen it by myself, where the hackers send like going to the LinkedIn or on social media, knowing the people who's working in the company, knowing the CEO, the CFO, other people, and taking their identity by acting like he's the CEO or he's the CFO, sending to the one of the staff in a company, asking him to do 1, 2, 3 by doing a spoof of the email. So those tactics is really advanced, and it's required from the company to also using the most secure practice and do more awareness to the staff to start being recognized those phishing email and protecting the company from such attack practice.
So basically, like what you are recommending is, so what one is that you mentioned, the spear phishing is very advanced attack which has happened to the people, and the best way to protect it is by providing security awareness and different kind of collaterals and trainings and etc.
Yeah, it's a combine of many things actually. It's not only technology. The company have to secure their infrastructure, email security, email server, by implementing the right technology in a place to make sure the configuration is correct, to make sure the policy is in place and applied. Also to do awareness and training to the staff, because it is one of the weaknesses actually of attack is the people. Technology cannot protect you from everything. People need to understand and to feel that what you need to differentiate between what is risk and what is not risk. I have seen, as an example, one of the people who used to work in finance received an email from the CEO asking him to buy iTunes card.
Okay.
And he immediately went there and buy iTunes card and send it by email to what he thought the CEO, which is actually is not a CEO. So it's like kind of sense of, if the person have a sense of security, he will immediately knowing that why CEO need to communicate him for iTunes card. Doesn't make sense. يعني CEO usually, if he wants, he should communicate the CFO, or his office manager should communicate him for anything related to other things. So it's kind of sense will allow you to identify those phishing email where you need people to be practice and doing a phishing simulation. So people will have this is kind of awareness and attention to such malicious email.
Yeah, so I can recall one incident that has happened with me in the past, which is phishing, and that's why basically the foundation of starting Critical was this only. So I received the same phishing email while I was in college, and then I click on that link. My entire email as well as the social media account, which is linked to that particular email, got hacked. And I tried to investigate that. It's very easy to create a phishing link, host it like similar kind of page, create a HTML page, it looks exactly similar. And that's why we started Critical, to make sure that your last line of defense is protected. So we have a product called ThreatCop, which actually simulate and aware people on various channels of attacks. So it could be phishing, ransomware, your SMSing, your cyber scam, etc., etc. So we are not here to talk about that today, but let's just move on to the next question. According to you, which are the major email-based cyber threats which is faced by Middle East organization? I know that you mentioned these already BEC attacks or spear phishing attacks, but is there anything that you want to add into that? What do you feel on that side?
Yeah, actually, additional to what I mentioned, phishing mainly is the most risky attack that I have seen of the organization, plus the business email compromise, as I said, ransomware and malware in general, botnet where the hackers actually using multiple compromised device to do a campaign of phishing email. Those tactic actually is actually there's so many things that been used, but actually those which is usually widely and big time to attack organization and to protect yourself from those tactic, you need to do some small practice in order to protect yourself from those attack, which is increasing your security big time. It's like 70 to 80% by doing small practice to protect yourself from those attack method. Hackers actually start now going to the really advanced position, starting a tactic where they need to do spear phishing to a specific person doing a full study about him, his background, his position, what he's doing, who communicating with who. As you know now, data is exposed over the internet, and if you want to do a research for someone, you will know a lot of information about him. If you go to the LinkedIn, you will know his career path, his company, his position. If you go to his Facebook, you will know his family, his friends, etc. If you go to his Instagram, you will find a lot of information. So it's not any more difficult to know a lot of information about specific persons. So hackers starting using those informations to do a really accurate phishing email where other can believe it easily if they don't have this sense of security and they don't have how to able to distinguish between the phishing email and the real email.
Correct, absolutely correct. Like I completely agree with you on this point. So there's a one question. So there are two type of email when we talk about. One is the business emails, okay, which is like at the rate. For example, my business email is pawan@ratikal.com. One is the free emails, which is at the rate gmail.com. So I understand, and I'm not sure. I just wanted to tell the audience that when you talk about the normal emails or the free emails that we have, we do not have a dual filter mechanism. So basically, what happens so far is whenever we go to the organization, we have something called email gateways or email security services. I will talk to Ayman much more about those things. And if in a free service, we do not have this. So what do you feel, keeping that in mind that there are too many of attacks, how much contribute these email gateways, which is kind of additional filtering mechanism available for the users or for the enterprises, help you to mitigate those attacks? So what's your thought on that as well?
Definitely. For an enterprise, I'm sure that you should never use a free email because there is so many security method and practice you need to apply where you cannot have it with a free email. One of them, as you said, is the email gateway. An email gateway, it is the first layer of protection for your email, where the hacker cannot see your email server. They have no access. It's not published. What is published is the email gateway. So he have no access to your email before passing the email gateway. And the email gateway, there is so many security methods need to be applied to filtering and to apply DMARC and other protocols where it is confirm and filtering and make sure this is a legitimate email what you have received before pass it to your servers. You have also, and other than email gateway, you have the endpoint protection, you have phishing simulations, you have so many tactic and technology you need to apply in organization to make sure that you have a secure email in your organization. Using a free email will not allow you, enabling you to do that, and will expose your business to high risk.
Understand. And I have just one more follow-up question to this. And the question is, so let's say when we have these, let's say we have endpoint gateway, we have this email gateway, is there any guarantee that we can stop a phishing attack happening to the organization? Like, is this something which can be stopped by email gateway, or they can be done even though you have proper security control in place? This is the question that is being asked multiple times by the audience. So I wanted to just get an expert opinion from you.
Yeah, actually, there is no guarantee 100%. In a security, there is nothing called 100% guarantee. Always there is a gap. But you can increase the security to the high percentage, let's say 90%, which is high security percentage. In an email gateway, you can basically apply what we call DMARC. It's a protocol. It's a new domain name message authentication, reporting, and confirmation. So it's a protocol will allow you to confirm this is email that you receive is authentic by using two different protocols. One is called SPF and the other one called DKIM. So the SPF basically is a sender of a policy framework where it is you need to configure on your email server where you're saying in your email server is authentic to send this email. So you specify the server where it is authorized to send an email. And the other protocol, DKIM, it's a container, a signature with all outbound of your email, where no email can have this signature if he going out of another server. So that basically the DMARC checking those two policy and make sure that server is authentic and authorized to send an email, and make sure it's a contain this signature. So this will reduce big time the phishing email, because usually phishing email, when it's come from non-authorized servers, usually it's not contain this is signature. So by applying this is policy, you will reducing phishing email. I cannot see 100%, but like 95%. Yes, it's efficient, and it increase your security of email big time. And unfortunately, there is no many organization today applying this is policy and protocols. And also you can, for example, in a policy, you can apply it. If you detect such email is not sending from unauthorized, you can define the action that you want. For example, to reject it or to quarantine, or you still have a control on the email, and it will increase your email security big time, especially the phishing and the spoofed.
That's absolutely correct. And I just want to dig more here, because we have one more product called KDMark, which help you implement the entire DMark implementation. And what you are, I think, trying to put on perspective is that whenever you receive an email, the DMark and these authentication protocol like SPF and DKIM should be checked to understand the authenticity of that particular email, which will definitely add in value to actually reduce a threat landscape. Great. So
yeah, adding to that, we have in Saudi Arabia an organization called NCA, National Cyber Security Authority.
okay.
They are taking care of everything related to the cyber security within the country. They put the regulation, they put the policy, they put everything. We have an initiative. It's called Hasin, HASEEN.gov.sa. Anybody can browse this website. It's actually an amazing initiative. We're encouraging all government and the company to start implementing DMARC. Basically, this is a website you can basically register there and define your DMARC policy and be registered, and it will show you if you can basically put your domain and show you how your domain is protected. So it's a good initiative from the government to increase the security of email in the country, and this will also give us more trust of government digitization and transformation.
Yes, I just browsed that, and I understand. I can see that they have an option by which you can create a SPF, DK, this DMARC records and everything, and then you can go and implement it in DNS. So these SPF, just for the audience, SPF, DKM, and DMARC are actually being implemented on the DNS side. So whenever a sender send an email, the receiver checks these parameters, like our guest speaker explained on how this technology works in very much details. And thank you so much for that. So that's great. We get to know that these is kind of implementation or a initiative which is being done by Saudi Arabian government. My next question is, in the long experience you have in cybersecurity, what are the major cybersecurity mistakes that you have seen? So one is, we talked about DMARC. What are the else things that you've seen that the mistake is being done so far with the people? The one I can just say, based on our experience, while we implement KDMark, is that the people sometimes only implement SPF. So let's say if I'm putting up a Google SPF or Amazon SPF or any bulk email service provider SPF, then what can happen is I can create another account and send email on their web, then the SPF will be authenticated. But if you do not have both the mechanisms like SPF and DKM, that could be one challenge, which we have seen so far while implementing our product called KDMark, which we help people to understand, putting up instead of SPF basis, we just try to put it on IP basis kind of thing. But what is in your experience you feel, apart from these kind of stuff, the security mistake or email security mistake or a configuration mistake or whatever it is from your perspective, people make so far?
Yeah, actually, again, as I said, usually the security, it's a that kind of lifestyle. If you don't have this is sense of security, you will do a lot of mistake. So you cannot protect your organization of not receiving phishing email 100%. Definitely, you might receive a phishing email from time to time. But with this is security and sense, you will be able to recognize this is phishing email and to not doing things might impacting the company. People are doing a lot of mistake by not taking this is seriously. People are sometimes they are responding to unknown email. Someone who's like, for example, we do have like a government sectors, we do have a regulatory, someone who spoofed an email from a regulatory for someone else and he's trying to send you mail acting in their behalf. So people, whenever they're receiving such email, they will immediately respond because they thought, this is a critical and important and they need to respond. And they start exposing so many data for the hackers. Actually, people need to think twice before sending or reply to the email. Do I know the person? Why he need to contact me? If there is any relation business before, is I am the right guy to be communicate before responding to the email. And basically, you can, whenever you thought have the doubt about the email, basically pick up the phone and call.
Yes.
Make sure that guy is the right guy who sends you an email. We have seen so many tactic people were trying to compromise and hack the email and get information, not only over the email, also on WhatsApp recently and so many different social media. So basically just pick up the phone and call the guy, make sure he's the one who is sending you email. And this is a correct email if you have doubt, or just basically forward this is email to the cybersecurity team in your organization where they need to check and validate if this is correct or not. If you have 100, if you have only 1% doubt, you should not respond to the email. You should immediately take an action, verified, and make sure this is, because exposing data, it's a high risk. This data might be used to compromise so many things. It might be used to hack so many things in your organization. A small mistake, it might lead to big compromise. So people need to understand again and again how to deal with the email. Email is not just like anymore something side. It's a core business nowadays. Everything going through email, everything documented by email, all business communication going through email. So exposing small information, it might lead to have a big compromise. It might lead to big business impact. Is my leading to big financial impact as well.
So I think you mentioned the impact, and this was running in my head. Just to let our audience know, the maximum attacks which are happening in the world sometimes starts with an email itself. So majority of the time, I can give you the data of this is rendered, but maximum things which is being communicated via email itself. And like he mentioned, that if there's something which you need to reply, you need to do, pick up a phone, just give the phone to the right guy. If it's a very critical email, consists of some critical information or a payment related information. So the hackers basically what generally they try to get is either the information or do a financial fraud. These are the two major motives that the hackers generally have. So keeping that in mind, here is my next question. We have seen this COVID-19 and there's a lot of work from home culture has been adopted. Previously, what used to happen is that we're sitting across to each other and we go and talk to the guy. Right now, everyone is sitting at the home. Now the threat landscape, what is your thoughts on threat landscape from an email security perspective? Because now the communication of emails are rapidly increasing because of the people sitting outside of their cabin and sitting at a home. And what kind of I'll say threats because of this pandemic, or I'll say if I just summarize how the COVID-19 pandemic affected email security landscape, especially in Middle East market. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, actually, when this is COVID-19 start, everybody rapidly switched to work from home. Where I'm sure there is so many hundreds of organizations who was not ready.
Yeah.
to that. Actually, I know there's so many organizations, they don't have even official email. They used to have like a free email, as we said.
Yeah.
So this is rapidly COVID-19 impacting this email security big time, because everybody has to use an email to communicate. So many people was not ready from security perspective. He was not ready from technology perspective. He was not ready even from awareness perspective how to use a secure communication way. So this was a big chance for the hacker to use this as weaknesses to start a huge campaign of attack, and they did successfully so many attacks. So this is impacting so many organizations, so many companies in the Middle East big time. But this was at the beginning. Later, with a growing of maturity and people start recognize this is a very critical way of communication. They starting building their own security infrastructure and their own email server they don't have, and they start looking after the email security. So at the beginning it was bad, but later it was good because it was a chance for people to knowing more about email and how to secure email and how to secure their organization, and the people start understanding how critical it is, and people start understanding how important it is. The people also knowing that this is will be like, you know, it will continue forever. So we need to secure this. So it is impacting email from two angles. One is bad, one is good. Hopefully this is will grow in a good way, and people will and company will securing looking after the security more and more.
Yes. So I have a lot of more questions, but before I just complete my question, I already have questions from audience when they submitted this. So I just wanted to put that part so that we cover those questions. They are very qualified and relevant questions that we received from the audience while they were applying for this webinar. So the first question I received from Ashish Pandey, he was mentioning that as we know, the POP3 is a quite older and IMAP is required much server space, and the exchange is much costly. He's mentioning probably the micro exchange. What is the best to use, and what basic steps required to prevent and data loss? So this is from Ashish Pandey.
Yeah, actually, it's not only related to the protocol. It is Ayman or POP3. Definitely, POP3 is very old and nobody uses it anymore. But it is, you need to protect your data in a different level. Today, for an example, is not everybody using a client, a POP or IMAP.
Yes.
Some people are still using a web. So you need to think about the web, how to secure the web. Basically, I don't think publishing your email server over internet without any security is a good idea at all. So you either to not publish your OWA servers, either to allow it to access through a VPN, or if you want to publish, you need to take into consideration all security controls, like using a multi-factor authentications, and other security controls measurement. But you're not just publishing your web service over the internet without any security controls. Also, in the email services, you need to make sure that people who's using email server are limited within your. If you don't have a people who's using email out of the country, for example, you should limit access to your email server within the country. This is one of the practice. You don't need to allow your email accessible from out the country if you don't have anybody using your email server out of the country. So this is to reduce the number of attempt of attack to your email server systems, because we know you might have limited people who's trying to attack within the country, but there is a huge number of people who's trying to attack out of the country. Also, one of the tactics that we use to protect your email servers is make sure that the configuration is correct, because usually one of the mistake that may lead to compromise is a misconfiguration. Not necessarily security, sometimes it's a misconfiguration. So make sure you do a full configuration and revise your configuration from time to time. Make sure this configuration is correctly implemented, and make sure you have a patch updated on a regular basis, and you don't have any gap in a level of the server. or configurations.
Okay, I think that's answers the question. Next is, as a cybersecurity expert, what is our best responsibility to do for our community to grow? This is from Abdul Rahman Soria.
Can you please repeat the question?
Sure. So this is from Abdul Rahman. He was asking, as a cybersecurity expert, what is our responsibility to do for our community to grow? So basically, he was majorly mentioning about how to grow a cybersecurity community and what we can do best to make sure that it's being done so far uh, uh, for the people in our community.
Yeah,
And
actually,
what are our responsibility? Yeah.
Actually, there is a responsibility for anyone who knowing about security, who's working as security, to educate others, basically. So your responsibility is to educate the other. I have seen people who have zero knowledge about security, and they're doing so many mistakes from security perspective. Your duty and responsibility to educate these people, offer using social media or your social committee, whatever, but to encourage the correct practice and to correct the wrong practice. And I give you just an example of wrong practice that I have seen people do. I have seen, for example, those company who's delivering shopping, DHL, Aramex, whatever. Some of them used to come and get a photo of your idea, which is wrong. This is really wrong. You have no right to get a photo of your idea. This is against the policy and against even regulations. I have seen people who basically give his idea to anyone without any questions, where he need to make sure his idea is secure and nobody have the right to take a copy of idea. Your idea might be used later to hack you again. So there's too many of wrong practice have been used, and people, because of weaknesses of awareness of the people, they don't know what is wrong, what is right. So our responsibility to practice or starting awareing the people. There is so many channels where we can help and educate the people about security.
So apart from the security for the organizations, there's one more question which arises as in cybersecurity community. So the people in our community, like you belong from a cybersecurity community, we belong from a cybersecurity community. The problem is that there's a very lack of these fine experts who are in this community. So there's a huge lack. So and I just want to repeat the question for me as well. What as in responsibility, what should we do to make sure our community grow? So the cybersecurity people like there are much opportunity in cybersecurity. There are people who shows interest in cybersecurity, because I've seen the people, especially in India, where the people have tendency to go for coding instead of going to field like the cybersecurity. So what's your view from a Middle East perspective, and what as in cybersecurity experts, what we can do to actually grow that community again, and make more people, especially who know cybersecurity, who can help organization to stay secure.
See, and we know that number of people who's in a domain cybersecurity is less than the people that are from the demanding. The demanding is huge, and the number of experts and specialized in cybersecurity is very few. And we're facing actually this challenge in the company. So to come over this challenge, instead of trying to get in a competition with the other company by taking their resource and we going back to taking our resource, which is actually this is infinity competition. So we starting by doing our own training program. So we conduct 2 different programs targeting fresh graduate people who is not ready to work in a cybersecurity, and we work on them to put them in a very good program that enhancing their skills, and we train them as well. It was like almost a year of training program to make them ready for a cybersecurity. We trained in the first time 80 person, and the second time 100.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is, and we hire most of them, by the way. So this is will help also the market overall to having more people who's qualified to work in a security. So I believe this is one of the responsibility that all companies should do by train the fresh graduate people. So this is will help not only the market, is will help also the country as well, to have more people who can work in a security to protect all the security for all the company, all the country.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for answering this question. And just to let our audience know, this particular webinar. And again, thank you so much, Emma, for coming to this webinar, because this webinar is again a free of cost a webinar for the cybersecurity enthusiasts. So being in cybersecurity people, like we wanted to make sure that we gives you the expertise or the real-time practical experience from our speakers, which we invite on a monthly basis. So we have a lot of speakers already from the past, but this is the first time that we are doing it from a Saudi Arabia. So we wanted to make sure that the community gets an idea from a different reasons. We did it from Australia, now Saudi Arabia. We'll go for some more as well. So we also want to try to, you will get a geo wide experience in cybersecurity. What are the things? What are the threats which are happening so far? Which is generally kind of common in India and every part of the country. But what we are trying to do is, so if you are listening, Abdul, you are always welcome to join our webinars where we talk about, and we even today we talked about a lot of things. Your email gateways, endpoints, DMARC, SPF, DKIM, and everything. So that's how Ayman is also contributing to this side, as well as we're also trying to help our community to grow, understand, and learn more from a real experience. So that's the part that we also play as an important role. And we also encourage everyone to play their important role, especially to grow this community. So the next question is from Faith M. David. So how can we know the right sender of an email? So that's again, I understand this question is from a DR side, but I'll give it to you to answer this.
Yeah, I didn't hear you. Can you repeat the question, please?
The question is, how can we know the right sender of email?
Yeah, see, as a person, basically, يعني, I don't think there is a way that let you know to know, and unless you have this sense of security again by knowing, seeing, looking to the email. It's like usually those phishing email. It's look weird, like science where it's look weird, the way how it's writing them, the way how it's. The information requested is like it looks strange. This is will allow you as a person to know this is not a phishing email. But from cybersecurity team and from technology perspective, by applying, as we said, the DMARC protocols and SPF and DKIM, this will allow the technology to detect those as phishing email by checking on the email if it's come from the authenticated server or not. This is the first step. The second step will check is this email contain the signature that should have from the domain server or not. Those two actually protocols or policy will allow the technology to recognize if this is a phishing email or not. And based on that, there is a policy to be applied by taking action, either by quarantine or reject, or even if you want, even knowing after that, he will send you alert and he still can't pass the email. But this is the most best practice that being used to recognize phishing email and spoofed email.
Yeah, like you correctly mentioned. So if you wanted to analyze, so let's say if you talk about free emails, you can go to, if you're using Gmail, you can go and see the header, which is if the SPF is passed, DKIM is passed, and DMARC is passed. So like Ayman mentioned, it's absolutely correct. Then you have the authenticated sender, which is the actual sender. If these three things are not passing, then it is not an accurate sender at all. But again, it's very important, like we already discussed this, it's very important to understand and to have a basic sense of awareness regarding the security. So basically we generally call it cyber literacy. So what you need to know is a basic concept of how you can understand this basic concept of security to make yourself safe. So that's one of the another component that we will definitely try to cover from a security awareness perspective. But to answer your question, like Ayman mentioned, absolutely that you should look at the SPF, DKIM, and DMARC and the content that is being sent so far to you. So I think that's answer your question, David. Uh, Now I have a question from Shankar Chauhan. Is email hacked when two-factor verification is on? So he is asking that can be an email hacked if the two-factor verification is on?
Yeah, for sure. To access to the email, multi-factor authentication to access to the email. So if you have email services published over the internet allowing your staff to access your email, should not only accessing by username and a password, you should have multi-factor authentications. In case the password has been leaked or someone knowing the password, or he can guess the password, so he cannot pass without having the multi-factor authentication. It is very secure and very efficient to secure accessing to the email.
So the follow-up question is that he is asking majorly on if they have an MFA enabled, like the email account that they're using, the MFA is enabled already. Is there any way by which this account can still be hacked?
Yeah, there is a way always. There is a way always to hack, even if multi-factor authentication is enabled. I haven't seen this will secure 100%, but it will increase the security to very high percentage. It can be high by doing a social engineering. For example, if you use a multi-factor authentication with the user, he's using this as multi-factor authentication in his mobile as a software. If someone hacked his mobile, he still can access to the multi-factor authentications.
Yes.
So there is a way always, but you need to increase to make it difficult, not easy. And also there is so many practice you need to do it from your end to see and monitoring who's accessing email server. For example, today if you're applying WAF, Web Application Firewall as an example, where he's monitoring and knowing the client that usually access the application of email. If he triggers a new devices or a new client trying to access, he will block him. So even if the multi-factor authentication is stalling and people using his device, the hacker using his device, he still can access. He cannot access by WAF. The WAF will stop him. So there is different tactic and different level of security where you can stop any malicious access to your email server.
And I just wanted to clarify and just wanted to ask you this, that I think the way if your MFA is enabled, the only way to hack is to actually hack you, basically to social engineering you. Without that, I think from my perspective, it's not something which is possible. Correct, Ayman?
Yeah, actually, it's by hacking you. People sometimes they are not even. It's a combine of so many things. People can sometimes they are not taking care of securing their mobile.
Yes.
Where their mobile is sometimes leading to hack business.
Yes.
Okay, because in your mobile you still have multi-factor authentication. You have email. So some organization they need to apply what we call MDM, mobile device management, where they put all application related to a business in a container, secured and controlled by the company. So there is, as I said, there is so many technique you need to follow in a different level to secure end to end. But it's not necessary that either to do it all or do nothing. You're doing some of those practice will increase your security big time, better than standing doing nothing. So again, by applying MDM, we'll have a control in a mobile device to make sure the data there in mobile related to the business is secure. By applying a WAF from other practice, will monitoring all devices trying to access mail servers, and if there is any new client has not been defined or not been used to access the mail server, he will stop him immediately, even if he is authentic. So yeah, there is different tactic, there is different mechanism in a different level.
Great. So right now we are open for our audience questions answer. Although these are previous, there are a lot of other questions this is still left. but I want us to give our live audience to ask questions. I already received one from Raju. He was asking, is it possible to hack anybody account without clicking any link?
Well, see, sometimes opening email itself, it might leakage the data. So it depends. Some people, they might inject a script in the email. Some people, they might, I mean, not clicking any link. This will be an excellent practice, but there is no guarantee 100%, but it will be eliminate the risk of having any compromise.
Absolutely. Like Ayman mentioned, there's no guarantee that even if you do not click, your account cannot be hacked. The one reason or one way I can recall is that if you have been hacked to some third-party platform where you're using the same password, these passwords are available on a dark web, and they can use the same password to log in your email ID and the password that they use from the dark web. I'm just sharing this link, which is Have I Been Found, where you can check if their email account is being already compromised or not by getting into this website. So that's something which is kind of possible. But if you have an MFA, it's not possible to hack account until less, like Ayman mentioned in the previous.
Yeah, there is one good practice usually used to
Yeah.
protect from such malicious email by there is a technology where you can implement it will allow you the user to report by click, just report any malicious email. If you have doubt or have thought, no, this is email is not authentic, there is a click, there is a button, it will appear in his email. Just click it to report it to a security team. And security team, they will take an action by block the sender or doing investigation to make sure there is nothing has been hacked or data leakage.
Yeah, so like we also have that product called we generally call it phishing incident response. It's called Tab, Threat Alert Button. So it's a button inside Outlook and G Suite. So let's say if even if you have let's 1,000 people in your organization and 100 people received that email, if one guy reports that email, we can take down 99 other emails which is being sent from the sender. Like basically, it's kind of incident response tool that helps organization to make sure that their data and the emails are secured. So it's an proactive tools, and within fraction of seconds, generally what we have seen so far is that within 5 minutes of time, we are able to reduce the impact of that attack, which is actually happened on your organization by just using the button and an Outlook or a G Suite, whatever you're using. So that thank you so much for mentioning that, Ahmad. So it again, if any audience have any questions, otherwise I'll take the rest of the questions from the audience which is already being submitted. So let me just go to that. And this is very important question from Kanan Rajendran. Are there solutions that proactively blocks the ransom email? But this is very important because this is the latest which is going on. This question is from Kanan Rajendran. I'm just repeating it again. Are there any solutions that proactively blocks the ransom emails?
Yeah, actually, what is the ransomware? Ransomware basically it is just a malware, just a malware email. So by having the technology where it's protecting you from the malware, it will protect you from the ransomware. The problem with the ransomware is not because it's ransomware itself, because the people they was not ready to have a solution to protect from the malware or a phishing mail or a fraud mail. So whenever you have a solution to protect your organization from such email, the ransomware it will be one of them. Again, it is also a combination between the technology and the people. People should always have a sense of such malicious email and not taking action, not clicking on a thing that they don't know or they feel it's like a weird or they know. People should not ever click a link. Also, there is one good practice where usually you need to do in your organization by whenever you receive an email from external, the security team should add to the body in a header in a statement telling to you this is email received from external and be careful. So this will give more awareness to the people to give attention to such email coming from external. He don't know the sender, he should not respond or he should not click anything. because usually email from internal is secure, and nobody can send email from internal unless he's from the team. But the problem is coming from external. So by adding this is small configuration, it will increase the security of your email and awareness big time.
Understand. And we still have a lot of questions, but time is limiting us from these questions to be asked. But definitely we'll look forward for everything. But there's one more question. I just get a follow-up questions from Raju only, and we just take this as a last question. Sir, most applications take permission while installing them. Is there any way to protect our account number etc being used for hacking? So this is, I think he's asking from a mobile perspective. There are a lot of applications which ask every other permissions. This is the one more thing that he was asking. So, sir, any lights on this, Ayman?
Yeah, application on a business desktop.
So he doesn't mention this, but he was basically asking from an individual perspective. So there's a lot of applications which ask different kind of permission on phone. So he was asking, is there any way to protect our account, phone number, etc. being used for hacking?
Usually on a business is not allowed to install any application. The application should be installed only by IT team after verified by the security is secured. So no one have permissions to install any application. So allowing people to install application, this is a totally wrong practice and should not allow these people, because people will not able to recognize between which is which one is hacked, which one is not hacked. So basically, you should not allow anyone to install any application in your own organization. Application should be installed only by the IT team after make sure and authentic and verified by the security team. And a level of individual, you should not install any application unless you know what exactly this application is doing. You need to read more about the application, what the permission is looking for, to do what exactly. And basically, you're not given any permission to anything. And basically, my practice in my phone, in a security, there is a basic concept saying everything is denied by default. And security is everything is denied by default. You just allow what you need only. Should not just allow everything, then you start looking what is. So basically, just deny everything. You don't know, you have aware, it's look like you don't know what it's doing. You just deny, do not accept. Unless you know exactly what he need, or you knew this is functionality exactly to work.
So that sounds great. Like that's the piece of advice for everyone. It's not for corporate only, but it's for everyone, that deny everything that you do not need and allow only the things that you need. And that's the best way to protect yourself. Thank you so much, Ayman, for your wonderful remarks and things, the way you explain things. We really loved and we really enjoyed this conversation. And then thank you so much for your time. Although we have a lot of questions still left from the people, we'll try to combine them and send it to you via email. If you get a chance, please do respond to them. And that's all from our side. Thank you so much again for joining this webinar. And thank you so much for all audience for joining this webinar. It really means a lot to us. Thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me. It's nice a pleasure to meeting you and all other audience. Hopefully to have any valuable discussion and everybody get any benefit out of that.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ayman. And bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.